What is happening, Buzz fam? Get ready for a news explosion because the digital world is spinning faster than ever, and we've got the absolute latest, hottest takes that you cannot afford to miss. We're diving headfirst into a whirlwind of breaking developments that are set to shake things up. From cinematic masterpieces getting the ultimate critical reception to emotional standing ovations that leave stars in tears, we're covering it all. Plus, we're uncovering some thought-provoking perspectives on who the real monsters in our society might be. It's a rapid-fire rundown of the stories that matter, the moments that define them, and the reactions that echo across the globe. Don't blink, don't breathe, because you're about to get the unmissable updates you've been waiting for. Stick around because this is Billie Buzz, and we're bringing you the news that moves the world. First up, we're dissecting the critical buzz around a highly anticipated cinematic adaptation that's sparking serious debate. Critics are weighing in on a visionary director's bold take on a classic tale, with performances that are being called revolutionary, even as the overall artistic vision is dividing opinions. Will this be a new benchmark or a beautiful misstep? Then, hold on to your seats as we witness an overwhelming display of audience adoration that brought stars to tears during a monumental festival premiere. We're talking about a reception so powerful, it's making headlines worldwide. And we'll also hear directly from one of the film's stars about his provocative take on the true nature of monsters in society. You won't want to miss any of this. Make sure you're subscribed and the notification bell is hit so you never miss a beat. A revelatory performance, but is the vision flawed? Guillermo del Toro's much-anticipated adaptation of Mary Shelley's iconic Frankenstein has finally premiered at the Venice Film Festival, and the initial critical reception is a fascinating blend of awe and reservation. With a current Rotten Tomatoes score of 79%, the film is generating widespread discussion, particularly around the dual elements of Jacob Elordi's portrayal of the creature and del Toro's distinct directorial vision. The film, a passion project for del Toro, has been over a decade in the making and promises a rendition that stays remarkably close to Shelley's original text, a departure from many previous cinematic interpretations. Jacob Elordi's performance as the creature is garnering near-universal acclaim. Critics like David Rooney of The Hollywood Reporter are hailing it as a revelatory performance notable for its expressive physicality, but perhaps even more so for its innocence, its deep well of yearning, and the crushing emptiness that follows as the creature comes to understand who and what he is. Similarly, Billie from Vulture emphasizes Elordi's profound impact, stating, "Elordi makes the creature's awakening, his growing curiosity and hurt, feel fresh, vital, new. Of all the parts that make this movie, it turns out his is the one that holds its soul." This consensus suggests Elordi has indeed found a new depth and emotional resonance in a character historically defined by its monstrous exterior. However, the reaction to del Toro's stylistic and narrative choices is more divisive. While Rooney praises the film as one of del Toro's finest, an epic-scale storytelling of uncommon beauty, feeling, and artistry, others find the execution less compelling. Billie critiques the film as a lavish assemblage of elements that have electricity but no soul, specifically pointing to Oscar Isaac's performance as Victor Frankenstein as not a bad performance, just not a very interesting one. He further notes that until the creature takes center stage, the film feels busy but weirdly lifeless. Peter Bradshaw of The Guardian describes it as a bombastic but watchable new version, yet finds the visual style, while utterly distinctive and unmistakably that of del Toro, to be strangely depthless despite its intricate detail. There are also comments on the film's production value. Peter Debruge at Variety remarks that despite costing more than Titanic, it still looks like it was made for TV. Nevertheless, he acknowledges del Toro's mastery, noting that every costume, set, and prop was crafted with formidable imagination and a daunting attention to detail. Elordi's creature is described as looking like an emo jock or a wounded soldier, a look achieved through extensive makeup, with Elordi himself revealing he spent 10 hours in the makeup chair for the transformation. On a thematic level, Pete Hammond at Deadline commends del Toro for delving deeper into the novel's core questions, suggesting that even though Frankenstein has been a horror staple for nearly a century in cinema, Del Toro here turns it into a fascinating and thoughtful tale on what it means to be a human and who is really the monster. But the story doesn't end with the critics' ink drying. Next, we're heading back to Venice to witness a truly overwhelming moment that had the stars themselves in tears. A symphony of applause, tears of triumph at Venice premiere. Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein didn't just premiere at the Venice Film Festival. It ignited the prestigious event, culminating in an astonishing 14-minute standing ovation that visibly moved the film's director and lead actors to tears. The sheer duration and intensity of the audience's reception marked a significant moment for the Passion Project, transforming the Sala Grande on the Lido into an arena of palpable emotion and critical acclaim. The grand premiere saw Del Toro, a celebrated auteur in the horror and dark fantasy genres, joined by his star-studded cast. Jacob Elordi, who embodies the iconic creature, and Oscar Isaac, portraying the brilliant but tormented Dr. Victor Frankenstein, stood alongside fellow cast members Mia Goth, Christoph Waltz, and Felix Kammerer. The Netflix executives, including Ted Sarandos and Dan Lin, were present to support the film, as was former Netflix film chief Scott Stuber, who produced the ambitious adaptation. The star power extended to the audience, with notable attendees like Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Caitlin Dever, Jesse Williams, Jessica Williams, and Sophia Carson adding to the night's glamour. Del Toro, whose previous Venice entry, The Shape of Water, secured the Golden Lion and multiple Oscars, described Frankenstein as the culmination of a lifelong dream. He shared that his fascination began at age 7 after seeing James Whale's classic films, stating, "Gothic horror became my church and Boris Karloff my messiah." This deeply personal connection to the material is evident in his approach, which reportedly stays closer to Mary Shelley's original novel than many previous adaptations. The film itself centers on the classic narrative of a scientist who defies nature by creating life, only to face the tragic consequences of his creation. Frankenstein is slated for a limited theatrical release on October 17th, followed by a global debut on Netflix on November 7th. The Venice Film Festival, running from August 27th to September 6th, provided the perfect backdrop for this highly anticipated debut. Beyond the critical reviews, the emotional resonance of the premiere was undeniable. As the credits rolled and the applause began, Elordi and Isaac were overcome with emotion, sharing hugs and receiving affectionate gestures from Del Toro. Elordi, in particular, responded to a fan's shout-out with "Love you too," demonstrating a genuine connection with the audience. The film's extensive makeup process, with Elordi spending 10 hours daily to transform into the creature with translucent skin and evolving physicality, clearly paid off, contributing to the powerful portrayal that earned such a fervent response. This outpouring of emotion and critical attention is truly something to behold. But as the cameras capture these star-studded moments, a different perspective on monstrosity is emerging. Venice roars for Del Toro's Frankenstein, a 13-minute ovation and star-led tears. Guillermo del Toro's latest cinematic endeavor, Frankenstein, has made a monumental impact at the Venice Film Festival, commanding an unprecedented 13-minute standing ovation, the longest of the festival to date. This overwhelming display of audience appreciation brought stars Oscar Isaac and Jacob Elordi to tears, highlighting the profound emotional reception of the Gothic sci-fi epic. The film, a retelling of Mary Shelley's seminal 1818 novel, follows a brilliant scientist's creation of a monstrous creature, a union that ultimately leads to their mutual downfall. Competing for the coveted Golden Lion, this $120 million production from Netflix is already being positioned as a potential major awards contender. The premiere event was a star-studded affair, with Isaac playing Dr. Victor Frankenstein and Elordi embodying the creature leading the cast. They were joined by co-stars Mia Goth, who portrays Dr. Frankenstein's fiancée Elizabeth Lavenza, Christoph Waltz as the wealthy arms merchant Harlander, and Felix Kammerer as Victor's brother William. The red carpet buzzed with excitement, attracting other notable figures like Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Jessica Williams, Jesse Williams, and Sophia Carson, who were all present to witness the film's unveiling. Before the screening, Elordi and Isaac engaged with enthusiastic fans outside the theater, signing autographs and taking selfies. Inside, the audience's admiration for Elordi was palpable, with one attendee shouting, "We love you, Jacob," to which the actor responded warmly. The emotional climax of the evening, however, was the extended ovation, during which Del Toro shared hugs with Elordi and Isaac planted a kiss on Elordi's cheek, underscoring the shared emotional journey of bringing this ambitious project to life. Elordi, in a previous interview, revealed the transformative process for his role, detailing the 10-hour daily makeup sessions required to achieve the creature's unrecognizable appearance, including translucent skin. He elaborated on the costume's layered meaning, explaining how the creature's posture evolves from an open, vulnerable state at birth to a more closed-off adult form, mirroring his experiences with pain and societal rejection. Del Toro himself described the completion of the film as a form of postpartum depression, emphasizing the deep personal investment in the project he has nurtured since childhood. With a limited theatrical release scheduled for October 17th and a Netflix debut on November 7th, Frankenstein is poised to make a significant mark on both the box office and the awards season, building on the immense success and emotional resonance experienced at Venice. An ovation like that is truly historic, showcasing the power of cinematic storytelling. But what does it mean when the very definition of a monster is challenged? Beyond the creature, Elordi identifies societal monsters. In a striking departure from his role as Frankenstein's creature, actor Jacob Elordi has offered a provocative perspective on who the true monsters of the world are. Speaking at the Venice Film Festival press conference for Guillermo del Toro's new adaptation, Elordi asserted that the real villains are not the fictional creations of Gothic horror, but rather the men in suits. This statement casts a critical eye on societal structures and the individuals who wield power within them. Elordi's comment suggests a critique of corporate or political figures whose actions, driven by ambition or greed, have a tangible and often detrimental impact on the world, contrasting them with the more sympathetic, albeit monstrous, figure he portrays on screen. His remarks come at a time when Del Toro's Frankenstein is generating significant buzz, lauded for its faithful adaptation of Mary Shelley's classic and for Elordi's deeply affecting performance as the creature. The film explores themes of creation, responsibility, and what it truly means to be human, making Elordi's real-world parallel particularly resonant. Elordi's interpretation adds another layer to the ongoing discourse surrounding the film, which has already seen critics divided on Del Toro's vision while universally praising Elordi's transformative portrayal. The actor's willingness to engage with the thematic underpinnings of the story, extending them to contemporary society, signals a thoughtful engagement with the material beyond his on-screen performance. Elordi's powerful statement certainly gives us food for thought about the nature of evil. Now, let's wrap up all these incredible stories with a quick recap. And that's a wrap on today's Buzz. We saw critics rave about Jacob Elordi's performance in Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, even as they debated the director's vision. Then, the film received a massive 14-minute standing ovation at Venice, bringing the stars to tears. Plus, Jacob Elordi shared his thoughts on who the real monsters are. What an episode. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Billie Buzz for all your hottest news, ring that notification bell so you never miss an update, drop a comment below telling us what you think, and follow us on all our socials. We'll see you next time.